Hi YouTube, my name is Kevin Doherty and I'm going to show you today how to make a Santa ornament out of a 2-inch block of basswood. Alright, first of all, you're going to need a piece of basswood. Alright, this right here is just a piece. I've already cut this. It's not actually the same length because they're from two different pieces. It's not even plain down, it's kind of rough, but that's okay. I can use this for the purposes of this video. What I want you to do is take a 2-inch piece. It's 2 by 2, 2 inches wide by 2 inches thick. Okay, and we're gonna take it to the bandsaw. I already did it with these two pieces. You're just gonna set your bandsaw at a 45-degree angle and cut it in half. Okay, at a 45-degree angle. So you're gonna end up with something that looks like this. Okay, now we can cut this in half. Depends on how long you want it. I like my ornaments about 7 inches or so long. Alright, so maybe what I'll do is just make a full Santa out of this one today. And it's going to be a Santa that you can stand up, or since it's flat on the back, you can drill a hole in the back and it'll hang flush right on the wall. And you just carve the front side. Alright, I'm going to show you how to do all of this with just the sanding drum and your Dremel. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, the first step is to make sure you have a Dremel. Right? Put a sanding drum in it. The sanding drums you can usually get in any hardware store or anything they sell for Dremel. They look like this. Okay, nice and simple. They just go right inside the Dremel. Tighten up your collet. And this is the tool you're going to use. Okay. Now we want to establish our basic dimensions. So what we're going to do is, if we're going to make this a full Santa, maybe I'll just make this a full Santa. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line to establish the hat. Right about, I'm going to swoop it down like this into here. Just like that, and that's going to be where we start. Okay, from down the stick a little bit, depends on how big you want this. I'm going to draw another line forming the beard, right, and where that's going to stop. Give me the basic dimensions of the face. Okay, pretty basic. Now we're going to take our sanding drum, we're going to cut out right here, and then we're going to come the other way, and we're going to dig out the beard. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'll try and keep it in view of the camera. I recommend you wear a mask. This gets pretty dusty, or you can sit in front of your dust collector if you have a dust collector. I like to do it outside and wear a mask. There's the first one. I'm going to turn it over. There's my second. Okay. I like to cut this out a little bit right here. Pretty simple. Now we have about where our face is. Now we're going to go back to our pencil. Put a couple more dimensions in. The hats, usually with the hats I like to kind of swoop them up. So I'll take it from this point here, make them come down at a 45-degree angle. The beginning right there. We'll make this simple for the purposes of the video, right? And all we're going to do is take the corners off here and here. Okay. Hoping we have enough light here. I really can't tell. But just the corner here and here. Now you can do that with the Dremel. You can go to your bandsaw. I like to zip them on the bandsaw. It makes it a lot easier, but I'll do it with the Dremel today. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take the corners off of the hat. Basically, you want to take it up to a point at the top. Take the back down pretty good. Move it towards the front. Now, I won't lie to you, that goes a lot quicker if you just zip the corners off on the bandsaw, but you get the idea. Okay, so we have a basic shaped hat. I mean, I can take my knife and do that. I can use my bandsaw, cut it out, and then smooth it with the sanding drum. I can use a chisel, okay, a gouge. So anyway, that's the hat. Now we've got that established. Okay, down here, I'm going to make this a full stand-up Santa, like I said, but it's flat on the back, so you drill a hole, you can stick it right on the wall, and it hangs up. But it'll be a full-body Santa. Down in here, we're going to come about halfway down, right underneath his beard, and it depends on how big you want his hands, but I'm going to draw a line. Oh, that's probably about 1.5 inches. I'm going to establish where I want to put his hands, and we're going to cut underneath that line. Alright, so we're going to dig some of that out. Okay. Pick it up in the center. And come in this way. See him starting to shape up now. Now that's going to establish, you know, his arms, and we'll probably just put some mittens here, make them nice and simple. I like to get up and underneath the arms a little bit and shape here. Now, again, this is just the basic shape. We're going to have to round his face off. This is a pretty rough piece of wood, so I'm going to have to do a lot of sanding on it. I also want to make a note, be really careful with the sanding drum. I have a special type of drum that I got online. I'm going to have to look up the website and try and give you the link for it later, but these are pretty tough sanding drums. They split very, very hard to split. A basic Dremel sanding drum, if you dig too hard, you're going too fast, they do pop off sometimes, so you want to be careful when you're using this type of stuff. Obviously keep it away from your fingers, right? But at least it's not a whirring bit. Okay, so you wear a carving glove. I don't have my carving glove because I usually don't wear it when I'm doing this, but you should have some kind of hand protection. I don't have my carving glove with me today. It's actually at my shop. But I will recommend that you get a whole lot of sanding bits. They're cheap. They're about, you know, $4 or $5 $4 a pack. You can get a bunch of sanding bits. You can make a lot of different things. But you do have to get used to the speeds of the Dremel. If you got a variable speed Dremel, it really helps to slow it down so you don't break the sanding bands because they go flying. They usually do take off away from you. That's the way the Dremel's set up. but it is a little scary when they pop off and they split, so be careful with that and go slow. Alright, try not to dig too hard, let the drum do the sanding, don't force it. Okay, from here we're going to go down a little bit, and I'm just going to move right in here, alright, in the corners here. I'm going to take some of that out to get the shape a little bit more looking like that's his coat, and to dig under the arms a little bit more. Also right in here where you're going to come in under the beard, we're going to take some of that out. So underneath here. And this right here. Okay, so he's starting to look pretty good. He's starting to shape up a little bit. Now, what we're going to have to do is come back up to the face. We're going to draw a line for where we're going to put the eye channels. Right about here, I'm just going to draw a line straight across and make it nice and simple. Okay. We're going to take some wood right out of there underneath that line. That's going to be his eyebrow line. See the eyebrow line there? Now if you go to the side, that should go in a little bit. Of course, we are going to have to try not to make his at the center here. You want to round that over. You're going to round it this way, okay? So he doesn't look so pointy, you know. But that's a good start right there. We're going to get a nice little brow line going. Again, be careful when you're using the drum. Make sure you're not digging too hard. Let the drum do the work. Okay? Now I'm going to take, this is personal preference really, but I'm going to take another, usually I don't use a pencil line right in the beginning, but to show you guys about where I'm going to cut, that's where the nose is going to be. You can make a long nose, you can make a skinny nose, you can make a fat nose, you can make a short nose. It's up to you. You do want to leave it long enough so you can put some eyes in there, and we're just going to paint the eyes on, so that's not going to be no biggie. Okay, let's do that. trying to keep it simple. Okay. Okay, now we're going to establish where we're really going to have this nose, and we're going to dig a little bit more into the eyes. Alright, so I'm going to take my pencil, I'm going to come up here, I'm going to draw a line swooping down. I like them to have some pretty fat noses, so I want to leave some. I don't know if you can see that or not. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm trying to give myself some dimensions where I want the nose. Now I could take my knife and cut in here, or I could do it with the sanding drum. Alright, and today we're really trying to use the sanding drum for everything, so I'm going to take that out with the sanding drum. A lot of times I can go a lot quicker just using a knife in spots and a couple of gouges, but like I said, this is basically all just with a Dremel and a sanding drum. So what we're going to do is we're going to come on this side of the nose. Actually, we're going to turn them this way. Okay, I'm going to turn them this way, take out some of the nose. Sometimes doing it like this is the best way, and then coming right along this side and trying to get it down. You want to leave the nose and take the sides down. Right, I'll show you how that's done. Coming right in here, okay, right alongside of it. Okay, right up in under the brow there. Take that out. Come right down into the beard. And with the nose, do the same on the other side. And just smooth it up a little. Starting to shape up. Open up a little. Okay. Move it over a little bit. Try and blend. And you want to keep them rounded here. Not too hard. You do want to, use your own judgment and try and blend out from the nose out. Okay. Now we're going to establish where we want some hair in the dimensions of the face. There's a couple ways you can do that. Now, I'm going to start about here. I'm going to draw a line, swooping that down and off to the side, just like that. It's going to be a hairline. Over here we're going to do the same thing. Let's bring it down. You'd like a kind of a triangle face here. Triangle shape. About there. And we're just going to cut those lines in. We're going to come from the inside of this line and go up. It's actually not a great line there, but I'm going to take some of that eye bridge off. Okay, and from there we're going to something like that, start forming the beard. Alright, so I'm going to take my sanding drum and I'm going to come up from here, right on the inside, and come up to the hat. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. From the inside, come up to the hat. Alright, well, from the inside this way, probably have to go. Let's see, here we go. thing on this side. Start from the outside. I want to come on the inside here. Right underneath there. I'll take a little bit out. And again, smooth it over. And just blend everything together, you know? Start up here, and here. Cut those lines in quick. And then one about there. Now I'm going to flip it over from here and dig those cheeks in a little. Move it up. Okay, it's starting to take shape now. You can see where I'm going to have the cheeks pretty much. It kind of thins the face down in here and it gives you a little better idea about what we're trying to accomplish. Good. Alright, now this guy's going to need a mustache. Course. And we'll make a nice simple one for this one. Doesn't have to be a big curly one. I usually like to start around the corners of the nose. Okay, and the mustache is going to come down on this guy. We're just going to make a nice simple easy mustache here. Don't worry about if you get into that line, we're going to take that down. Something like that, I guess. I have to take this down in here to make the mustache even. We're going to cut out from underneath the mustache to make it stand out. Hard to hold on to sometimes. So now we're going to do the inside, the underneath the mustache. Dig right out underneath that. Take enough wood out and make it stand out. And you find as you go, you're going to have to start taking some of your beard underneath the beard again to make that stand out. Then I like to come in cutting this way instead of just from underneath. If you really want the beard to round off nice, you want to come from this direction. and then undercut it there. Okay. As we start shaping the arms, they'll all come together. Now I like to get my knife and go in there and really establish those lines, but we're getting the basic shape of our Santa here. And of course he's going to get all sanded down and painted, so he's going to look a lot different when he's done. Okay, now the next step, I would probably start working on these. I'm going to take my pencil, start making some hands. Basically you can start with 2 round balls and just give them mittens. They're pretty easy. If I can draw a round ball. You want to try and keep them symmetrical. They never have to be perfect. I mean, it's the whole beauty about carving. You just kind of adjust as you go. Every piece is different. And we'll make a... That's all you're going to need for his hands here. See, we're going to dig all that out more, and that's going to make his beard stand out more. So we're going to come right around these lines from the inside, right from the inside here, right around. I'm going to leave a little bit sticking out on this side for his cuffs and his arms. Okay. Put a little thumb there, little line here for a thumb. That's basically all we're going to do on this guy. At the bottom here, you take a V-shaped cut, and that'll help establish that. The same at the top, it'll help them stick out more. I'll show you how we do that. First, I'm going to come from around. At the bottom here, take a little more out. Okay, and I'm going to work on that a little bit more, but you see how the hands are starting to stick out. Now this works great if you're using a knife and you're starting to carve. If you're following some of the carvers on YouTube, Whittler is really good. Gene Messer, I think his name is. Very nice guy, very good. Maybe Gene will do one of these. If he sees this video, he'll show you how to do one with a knife. Or I'll just do one with the knife also. But they really come out nice when you do them with the knife. Sanding drums, like I say, are nice. They're quick. I mean, I could make this guy probably within 15 minutes from start to finish if I wasn't teaching on the video. I would just zip them up and use a better piece of wood, and you know. But like I said, for just this is my first test video, so I'm gonna give it a shot and see how it works and how it comes out. If you can see what I'm actually doing here or not. But what we did was we went around those lines. Now we're just gonna come in for the thumbs on the sides here, okay? And we're just going to take a little bit of wood out underneath that line and then blend it up to it. that's pretty much it. Okay, I went down the center with the sanding drum, went down the center, separate them. I'll go back later and clean it up with my knife, you know, and shape them a little bit better, but you get the idea. Like I said, it almost kind of really stands out if you just do them with the sanding drum. It does, you can make them really deep sometimes, and it gives you that kind of flat plane look sometimes. Like I was talking about Gene, he has some great videos on YouTube. I highly recommend them. He's actually the inspiration for this video, because when I first started carving, it was really hard for me to figure out what the heck do I do? How do I start? What kind of wood do I use? A lot of times a video isn't from start to finish, or a book is hard to decipher. And Gene's really helped a lot of people on YouTube discover the world of carving, and hopefully I can add a little bit of that also by doing this video. Alright, so I really recommend you check out his videos. They're really good. He's a nice guy. He shows you from start to finish. The flat plane style is his favorite, and he's got some really great stuff. And thanks for being out there and helping us, Gene. Hopefully you can get some tips off of this video. You never know. Okay, we're moving on. What we're going to do is, I'm just going to go around and smooth him up now. I'm going to put some lines up here for the hair. I'm going to add a little texture to the beard. I'm just going to use the drum for all this. And kind of sand him around and take the hat down up here. Shape him up a little bit better. This is all pretty much sanding now because he's almost done. We do have to come back in and touch up the nose and everything. But I'm going to show you how to put lines in the beard and everything. And we are going to have to cut it out a little bit more, and see how he's a little pointy here. I'm going to smooth all that up. I'm just going to be sanding now. Alright, so I'm going to shape them up with the sanding drum and smooth them all down. Coming up to the beard, I'm going to make some beard hair. I like to make it real textured. Put a couple of lines in with the drum like that. Mustache line. Okay. Alright, he's almost done. I could probably paint him up like that, and he's a good beginner finished little Santa. Alright, he's still off up in here, so I'm going to take his hat down and smooth that down and round it off. And I do want to work on his nose a little bit more. So, you can take a ruby carver, get a good set of ruby carvers, and do it like that also. To Sometimes I use a nice round groovy carver and I'll get in here and I'll really shape the nose up nice. Okay, but that right there is pretty much how to start your Santa. Now if I round off his hat up here and take that all down, it's all personal preference really. You can change any of these features, nothing's set in stone. Okay, so I'm going to round off his hat up in here for the next part. I don't want that wedge shape, I want it more rounded. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to separate his eyebrows right here. Again with the sanding drum. Right about here in the center. Now you can come straight down because we want this to kind of angle downwards so we get that eye bridge there really good, and it sets up the eyebrows. You could do that with a chisel, but we're going to separate with the sanding drum. I took out some of the forehead up in here, right? And usually if you can take your sanding drum, go underneath the eyelid there, or the eyebrow bridge, and come up, you know, just a little, kind of get the nose to go up in between those a little bit. Okay, I'm going to work on taking the nose down a little bit more in there. get those cheeks to really stand out, you got to come from down in like this. Okay? Okay, our Santa's getting a little bit more defined. We have the beard cut in, we've separated the eyebrows. It takes a lot of practice sometimes with the sanding drum. You can also get the smaller sanding drums. I like to separate them up in here, usually with my knife. I might go through that in a little bit. I'll probably end up touching him up pretty good, cleaning him up with my knife, a detail knife. I usually just use a basic flex cut detail knife. You can even use a rough out knife. Or just make them with the sanding drum, and that's the whole purpose for this, is to show you how easy it actually is to make a small carving with just the sanding drum and your Dremel. Okay, and it's one of my favorite things to do. I started doing this a while ago when I wanted to make little quick Santas. And you cut a block of wood in half, you could do it and make them in the round, or you can flatten it out like this and just take a quarter piece and make some really nice Santas. And so what we're going to do now is pretty much shape the nose a little bit better. So I'm going to take my pencil here. I'm just going to draw a line like that. So I want it to angle up a little bit here on the wings to kind of round it off. Hope you can hear this. I got traffic going by and everything else. I'm outside. But just about there. If you can see that or not. Okay, I'm just going to take the sanding drum and zip this corner off and zip. I'm trying to get the nose to go up at an angle there a little bit more. So we're going to start up the Dremel and take those off. Now you can see that the nose is dug in a little bit better. Now we have that upward wing angle that we're looking for. Okay, and you can just take your knife then and clean that up any way you want. I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. But pretty much he's done. We don't really have too much more to go. Sand him down. Fill the corners out a little bit. You can take the corners off a little bit with your knife. Dig in the lines around the mouth here. But you paint him up, and you pretty much have a nice little Santa that you made just with the sanding drum. This is pretty much my own design. I haven't seen anybody do this yet. I'm sure somebody has. I'm not claiming that I invented it or anything like that. I did start making flat ornaments off of a couple of videos that I actually got the idea for making flat ornaments. If you took all this bottom part away, you'd have a nice little ornament there. If you made a smaller one, you wouldn't even have to put a coat or arms or anything on them. I started adding arms to the longer pieces and just a coat, and paint them up any way you want. You can look at some of my carvings on a couple of the other videos I've already made, and you can see maybe one or two of these are in there. You know, I'll try to post some, and you see what they look like when they're painted. So good luck. I hope this video was informative, and give me your comments. I'd like to try and do more videos and hopefully show you some stuff with the knife. Thank you for watching.